welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Just a quickie, yeah, a little quickie. Say I'm having troubles with my webcam at the moment, so I'm having to use my phone. So sorry about the quality and stuff. Anyway, also wanted to just say a quick sort of thank you to all of you that have asked about my dog. As you may know, she was poorly and I had to take her to the vets and all of that. So she is now back to her normal self. She's happy, she's eating properly, she's running around, she's playing. We've been going on our normal walks and stuff, and all is good in my world again. So yes, big hearts, thank you to you for asking. It's nice to send you well wishes and whatnot, because she is a lovely girl. Anyway, I just wanted to put it out there really and just say about that. So yeah, thank you. It's Friday. It's a great day. It's my favourite day. If you didn't know that, you should know that by now. And yeah, let's get on and talk about the video. So the video today, as you may well have guessed, the last couple of videos I've done have been sort of true crimes and murders and lovely stuff like that. And I decided today not to be an exception, and we'll carry on with the theme. So the reason I'm carrying on with the theme is because everyone seems to like them. So, and I enjoy doing them as well. It's not just that, I do enjoy doing them. So yes, it's good. Yeah. Oh, but one thing I have to say is I had a comment on my last video, which, as you know, was about Amityville House. All the research that I do myself. So I look everything up and I find out facts, and that's how I come about my video. I do not, however, interview people involved in the actual story of whatever I'm talking about, which is really weird, because I got a comment saying that I should apparently I got my facts wrong. I don't think I did, but and they said that I should interview the family. Now, I don't know who you think I am, actually. Anybody watching this, know that I'm just a mere woman that does videos for the fun. I'm not a journalist. I don't go around interviewing people for my videos. And I'm not likely to either. So it was a bit of a daft comment. So I had to delete their comment and delete them from my channel, because comments like that, it wasn't even the fact that they said, oh, perhaps you should try doing this. It was kind of the way they said it was like, this woman got her facts wrong and all this sort of, and I just thought, yeah, see ya. Yeah, I can't be doing that. No drama, no dramas here. We don't have dramas on this channel. So yeah, so I kind of like, yeah, just to put it out there, I will not at any point be doing interviews with serial killers or their families. So there you go. I've said it now. That's it. It's out there. Now. And all the research I do is what I believe is correct. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that. Yeah, that's okay. This video today. Sorry, it made me chuckle a bit. It was like, oh my god, really? Anyway, video today is about another serial killer, which is jolly. A lot of people in England will have heard of him, definitely. Other places around the world, not quite sure if you'll know who he is or not, but you'll know all about him after the video. So, the video today is about Dennis Nilsen. Now, I say that, and I know a lot of your ears will prick up and you'll go, oh yes, I know him. Some of you might not, but you'll find out more and more in a minute. And I'm going to stop waffling on and let's get on with the video, and I'll see you on the other side. Dennis Nilsen, or Des as he's known, was a well-known murderer in England. He used to befriend young men and take them back to his attic flat in Muswell Hill in London. He used to spend time with the men and then murder them. He'd cut up their bodies in the flat and he ended up clogging up the drains with all of their remains, which is how he got caught. The smell was just too much for the other residents, and when the police arrested him, they searched the flat and found body parts in his wardrobe. He was a sick man. The poor men just didn't stand a chance. Between 1978 and 1983, Nilsen is known to have killed a minimum of 12 boys and men, and to have attempted to kill 7 others. He initially confessed in 1983 to killing about 16 victims. The majority of Nilsen's victims were homeless or gay men. Others were heterosexual people that he'd met in bars or on public transport. Even on one occasion, he met one outside of his home. All of Nilsen's murders were committed inside the 2 North London addresses where he resided in the years that he's known to have killed. His victims were lured to these addresses, typically with the offer of alcohol and or shelter. Once inside his home, they were given food and alcohol, and they were treated as if they were friends so that the men felt comfortable. Then he strangled them, usually with a cord of some kind. He would strangle them until they were either dead or unconscious. If the victim had been strangled into unconsciousness, Nilsen then drowned them in his bathtub, his sink, or in a bucket of water before observing a ritual in which he bathed, clothed and retained bodies inside the residences for several weeks or occasionally even months before he dismembered them. He often sat with their corpse and watched TV as if everything was normal. Each victim killed between 1978 and 1981 at his Cricklewood residence was disposed of via burning upon a bonfire. Prior to their dissection, Nilsen removed their internal organs, which he disposed of either beside a fence behind his flat or close to Gladstone Park. Victims killed in 1982 and 1983 were kept at his flat in Muswell Hill and disposed of down the toilet, which led to the drains becoming blocked. He admitted to masturbating while looking at the nude bodies of his victims, but he said he didn't actually have penetrative sex with them. 195 Melrose Avenue is where he killed his first victim, Stephen Holmes. He was 14 years old. On 30th of December 1978, Holmes encountered Nilsen in the Cricklewood Arms pub, where Holmes had unsuccessfully attempted to purchase alcohol. According to Nilsen, he had been drinking heavily alone on the day that he met Holmes, before deciding in the evening that he must, at all costs, leave his flat and seek company. So Nilsen invited Holmes to his house with the promise of the two drinking alcohol and listening to music. He believed him to be approximately 17 years old. At Nilsen's home, both he and Holmes drank heavily before they fell asleep. The following morning, Nilsen awoke to find the sleeping Holmes beside him on his bed. In his written confessions, Nilsen stated that he was afraid to wake him in case he left me. So after caressing the sleeping youth, Nilsen decided Holmes was to stay with me over the new year whether he liked it or not. So reaching for a tie, he straddled the young lad and he strangled him into unconsciousness and then drowned him in a bucket of water. He then washed the teenager's body in the bath and he placed him on the bed and caressed him. He admitted to masturbating over the body and then waited for rigor mortis to set in so he could store him under the floorboards. The boy's body remained under the floorboards of his house for 8 months before Nilsen burnt his body in a bonfire in his garden. I eased him into his new bed beneath the floorboards. A week later, I wondered whether his body had changed at all or had it started to decompose. I took him out and I poured the dirt-stained youth up onto the floor. His skin was very dirty. I stripped myself naked and carried him into the bathroom and washed the body. There was practically no discoloration and his skin was pale white. His limbs were more relaxed than when I put him down there. This was Nilsen's written recollections of the ritual he observed after the murder of his first victim. He attempted to murder a student from Hong Kong who was studying in London. He failed because the man escaped and told the police, who investigated, but the victim dropped the charges, which then made Nilsen want to find another victim, and from here he continued his murder spree. His second victim was the start of him watching TV with the corpse. He had murdered his young man, put him in the floorboards, and decided to get him out and place him on the sofa to watch TV, while Nilsen drank alcohol. After his third murder, Nilsen began to kill with increasing frequency. Before the end of 1980, he killed a further 5 victims and attempted to murder one other. Only one of these victims, whom Nilsen murdered, 26-year-old William Sutherland, has ever been identified. Nilsen's recollections of the unidentified victims were vague, but he graphically recalled how each victim had been murdered and just how long the body had been retained before dissection. One unidentified victim killed in November had moved his legs in a cycling motion as he was strangled. Nilsen is known to have absented himself from work between 11th and the 18th of November, likely due to the murder. Another identified victim Nilsen had unsuccessfully attempted to resuscitate before sinking to his knees and sobbing and spitting at his own image as he looked at himself in the mirror. When he moved into his attic flat in Cranley Gardens, he had no access to a garden, so he couldn't burn the bodies. So this is when he started to dismember them and flush them down the toilet. Nilsen is known to have killed 12 young men and boys, but he told the police that it was more likely to be 15 or 16. His murders were discovered by a dino rod employee, Michael Catran, who responded to the plumbing complaints made by both Nilsen and other tenants of the Cranley Gardens on the 8th of February 1983. Opening the drain cover at the side of the house, Catran discovered the drain was packed with a flesh-like substance and the numerous small bones of unknown origin. Catran reported his suspicions to his supervisor, Gary Wheeler. As Catran had arrived at the dusk, he and Wheeler decided to postpone further investigation into the blockage until the following morning. Prior to leaving the property, Nilsen and fellow tenant Jim Alcock convened with Catran to discuss the source of the substance. Upon hearing Catran exclaim how similar the substance was in appearance to human flesh, Nilsen replied, "Looks to me like someone's been flushing down their Kentucky Fried Chicken." At 7:30 a.m. the following day, Catran and Wheeler returned to the Cranley Gardens, and by this time the drain had been cleared. This aroused suspicions of both the men. Catran discovered some scraps of flesh and 4 bones in the pipe leading to the drain, which linked to the top flat of the house. To both Catran and Wheeler, the bones looked as if they'd originated from a human hand. Both men immediately called the police, who, upon closer inspection, discovered further small bones and scraps of what looked to be to the naked eye like either human or animal flesh in the same pipe. These remains were taken to the mortuary, where the pathologist advised police that the remains were in fact human, and that one particular piece of flesh, he concluded, had been from a human neck. Upon learning from fellow tenants that the top floor flat from where the human remains had been flushed had belonged to Nilsen, the police waited outside until Nilsen returned home from work. When he arrived, they explained that they had come to inquire about the blockage in the drains from his flat. Nilsen asked why the police were interested in his drains, and also whether or not the 2 other police officers present were health inspectors. In response, the officer informed Nilsen that the other 2 were also police officers and requested access to his flat to discuss the matter further. The 3 officers followed Nilsen into his flat, where they immediately noticed the odour of rotting flesh. Nilsen questioned further as to why the police were interested in these drains. to which he was informed the blockage had been caused by human remains. Nilsen feigned shock and bewilderment, stating, "Good grief, how awful." In response, DCIJ replied, "Don't mess about, where's the rest of the body?" Nilsen responded calmly, admitting that the remainder of the body could be found in 2 plastic bags in his nearby wardrobe, from which DCIJ and his colleagues noted the overpowering smell of decomposition emanated. The officers did not open the cupboard, but they asked Nilsen whether there were any other body parts to be found, to which Nilsen replied, "It's a long story, it goes back a long time. I'll tell you everything, I want to get it off my chest. Not here though, at the police station." He was then arrested and cautioned on suspicion of murder before being taken to Hornsey police station. While en route to the police station, Nilsen was asked whether the remains in his flat belonged to one person or 2. Staring out the window of the police car, he replied, 15 or 16, 1978. In court, the jury returned with a verdict of majority of guilty upon 6 counts of murder and 1 attempted murder. He was sentenced to life in prison with the recommendation that he serve minimum of 25 years. Nilsen died on the 12th of May 2018. He had a total of 5 people at his funeral, including 3 prison officers and the individual with whom Nilsen had corresponded with while in prison. No family members were present at the service. Now, if that doesn't give you chills down your spine, I don't know what will. There you go then. Sorry, that was a little bit gruesome. It was gruesome though. It's a gruesome crime for over a long period as well. The weirdest, horriblest thing about it is that he took sort of almost pleasure in doing these things, and he also sat with them and watched telly with them after he'd killed them. Which says a lot, doesn't it, about someone, you know. I mean, I suppose it says a lot about someone when they're just murdering someone, so, you know, what can you say? Yeah, I think it's fucked up, innit? Let's face it, no other words for it. He was a fucked up man. It's good that he's dead. I always say this about the same sort of thing about killers, because it is good that they've died, because they've taken someone else's life, probably, well, some of them taken a few, like this Dennis Nilsen fella, taken a lot of lives. So yeah, it's horrible when that happens, isn't it? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and it wasn't too gruesome for you. It wasn't a gruesome Friday. And well, yeah, I hope you'll come back again. Hope you have a good weekend, and you know, get out there and enjoy your weekend and have a nice time. I don't think I'm doing a great deal over this weekend, which is nice. It makes a nice change, to be fair. I've been quite busy last few weekends. So yeah, this weekend it's probably chilled, really, quite relaxed and taking it easy a bit, the way I like it. And yeah, have yourself a great weekend and take care of yourself. Keep yourself smiling, keep yourself busy, and don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Yeah, okay, do what you want. That just means do what you want. You got free reign, and I'll see you again next week. Take care, see you later, bye bye.